football coach Walt after EKU gets the win over Nicholls. Coach, we'll start with your opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions from the media. Coach?
It's always good to get a win, and the kids were excited, and the coaches are excited, and I'm excited, and it's fun to get back on the right side of the track there and win and continue what's going on here at Roy Kidd Stadium for us. And proud to see some of the guys step up and play the way they did, make the plays that they did. And Nicholls is a good team and got good players, and we struggled early on offensively, but it was great to see them just come together and find a rhythm and start moving the ball and doing some good things. And so really pleased with that, and looking forward to open week and getting some guys healthy and getting some rest a little bit and get ready for the last 7 games of the year. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Late in the first half, what kind of opened up for you in the running game, and how were you able to establish it going into the second?
I think what we did is we, I credit Andy and Andy Richmond and Eric Ravelette. I think they found some sets that would lighten the box, so to speak, and get some guys out of there. And then our O-line did a nice job of blocking. The first run by Brady there, it was really one of their wideouts came in and cracked on the safety. And the corner didn't crack replace, and so Brady took advantage of it and got, I think it was a 16-yard run, and then on the big long one, they got him to second level, and he took care of the rest. And so I think when you can do that, it gives the back sometimes to hit it full speed, and that's what we were able to do.
And Coach, you've talked about this multiple times, how young this team is, but with that, when you see your guys be able to make those second half adjustments, especially up front in a very, relatively inexperienced offensive line, how much confidence does that give you going forward, knowing that these guys can get the coaching from the staff and be able to implement that in real time during the game?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, I think like anything, and I told them this week, we're not young anymore. You got 4 games under your belt. You played 2 FBS schools, you played 2 FCS schools, you played 2 FCS schools and a ranked opponent, and you got to start improving. You got to start making strides. Our practice was the best it's been on Tuesday and Wednesday all year this week. So I think if there's a message in there, it's, hey, go practice really well, and good things happen. If you practice 50-50, you get 50-50. And if you practice less than that, then that's what happens. And that's the hardest thing to understand, especially when you're young. You don't understand that you got to play the practice as hard as you play the game. And, you're always going to take it up a notch in a game just because it's the game. But, we try to design our practices to be very hard. And we want them to go out there and things be easy and they can roll through it, especially with their wind and the mental part of the game.
Defense obviously gives up 7 points on that first drive. They were stellar the rest of the game.
Yeah.
What can you say about the defense's effort and their execution on top of that to keep them scoreless for the rest of the game?
Well, I'm really proud of them. I mean, they understood that we missed a tackle on the screen. They got us in a formation, and somebody made a mistake, and so we were down a man, and so they got the screen one-on-one, and we didn't make the tackle that we should, and he took it the rest of the way and did a great job. Great, kudos to them. But our defense came back and played tough. They gave up some yardage there at times, but then they stood up firm, especially on 4th down, and that's huge when they're in the high red and then they were in the low red, and we cut them out on 4th down twice and gave us a chance to come back. And so, Jake and Jake Johnson and the staff have done a great job with our defense, and our defensive guys are playing hard.
How much of a momentum play was that, seeing Caden get the interception?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Caden works his butt off, never says a word, and just really works hard. And, Caden never played inside linebacker, I don't think, had you? No. And we didn't bring him here as an inside linebacker. We brought him here as a Sam. And then last year we had some injuries, and, we said, all right, he used to be a running back. He was really good. He could see the holes, so he can play inside linebacker. Let's move him to inside linebacker. And I talked to Jake about it, and Jake was all for it. And next thing you know, by the end of the year, he was playing really well, and we knew what we had in Caden. And so for him to get the fruits of his labor, I think it's always great. I mean, that's the first time he scored a touchdown that I can remember. And it was a big momentum change in the game. It was huge. It put us up a score, gave the offense some breathing room. They could come out and just relax and play ball, and that's what they did. And we've got young guys like that are stepping up and making plays. We just got to make sure we keep them here.
I mean, Coach, something you guys talk about is recruit and develop. you know, you have two local products making probably the two biggest plays of the night. Caden being from Taylor County High School, you know, Hensley, obviously born and raised right here in Richmond. What does that say about this program that, you know, two local kids are making the biggest impacts here at EKU?
Well, I think you go back to our coaches and how they recruit, but you also go back to camp. Caden came to camp, ran great times, had good height, had good weight, had good this. Brady came to camp, had good times, had good height, had good weight, had all the GPS scores and all that. And so we offered both of them. And, you know, and I was just asked about Cam Jesse, you know, on special teams, and he's a true freshman. Same thing with him. I don't know why other people aren't recruiting him. I don't really care. And I'm glad we got him. And so I think that tells you, you know, if you'll get out and you'll compete in camps and different things, you'll get your opportunity, whether you're from Kentucky or whether you're from Florida or Georgia, like Jaheim and all these other places.
You're heading into the bye week now. What's the message to the team? What is kind of be your kind of focus after you look at the film going into what is a gauntlet of the rest of the season coming ahead?
Yeah, I mean, we know what's coming ahead of us, and we got to be prepared. So, you know, I've got to do a great job of organizing practice to where our guys get situational work and also understand what we're doing better, so we don't make the mistakes that we make, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. We got to make sure we got the right people in the right places, you know, in special teams, so that we can continue to get better in that department. Rest up, obviously, and, you know, get your mind right, and let them have a little free time to be a normal college student, and then get ready to go, because, you know, Austin Peay's going to roll in here, you know, and fired up and ready to go, and especially after the way things ended last year. And so they're going to be a tough opponent, but we're excited about that.
Nicholls being a non-conference opponent, obviously one you're not too familiar with, what were some things you saw about their game that you wanted to hone in on stopping before?
Well, we thought they were going to come in and try to run that outside zone play, and they did at times, and they did a nice job with it. But we knew we had to stop the run, and then they had some play-action passes that they were going to come with, and they did. And, you know, we wanted to affect the quarterback, and we got to him probably better in the second half than we did in the first half, quite frankly. But stopping the run's always going to be our number one thing. We want to stop the run, and you know, that puts a stress on our defensive secondary, but that's what we do right now.
And then, Coach, lastly, 9 straight wins here at Roy Kidd Stadium. A great atmosphere here tonight, like you've been preaching to the guys, and you protected home turf once again. What does that say about the guys on this program and this fan base getting behind EKU when you guys play here at Roy Kidd Stadium?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to everybody involved in the program, our athletic administration, our players, our coaches, our town, everybody, because, you know, it meant something when, you know, they even were commenting when we were standing up on top of the hill before we ran down about, oh, there's a, you know, good crowd here, and they saw people at the, you know, the Colonel Walk was the best it's been, and, you know, it means a lot to these guys. You know, it means a lot to them because they come out and they work hard, they do all the things they do, they want to play in front of a crowd that appreciates what they're doing, and then for them to go out and perform well and to be able to do that, you know, I think that's, you know, what they have to understand is what they have to do to get that crowd to come back. And so, but I also think it helps having some guys like these two guys making plays that are locals, and people want to come see, you know, who they grew up with and watch them play, and I think that's important.
No other questions, Coach? Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you guys.